Hi, everyone. Welcome to practice. Welcome to practice. Welcome in. Welcome in. Get settled in. I'm really zoomed in. Back up a little bit. Welcome to practice. If you're here with me live, it is Thursday night. If you're here with me in Eastern Standard Time, it is 8 p.m. If you are not, if you're joining me on a different day and a different time, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Where are you listening from? What time is it? What day is it? Where are you? And right away, all of those questions do what? They start to bring us into a mindful place. So within 10 seconds of being here, you're already beginning to practice mindfulness. So if you are here with us tonight or later during the recording, I'm really excited about tonight's practice. I'm toying around with some ideas, and I really am excited to hear your thoughts about this. So, as you're watching or listening later, I'd love to hear you in the chat or in the comments your feedback. What do you think about this? What comes up for you as we sort of go through the process tonight? Yeah. So, without further ado, I'm going to sort of dive right into the topic. Um, Last week, if you were here with us, caught the recording, you know that we practiced some grounding mindfulness, and we explored this idea that grounding can mean many different things. There's many different ways to practice grounding. We really brought it into a mindful sort of grounding practice, grounding us in the present moment, grounding us in this current place, grounding us in our bodies. And the idea there was that there are times and places and situations and scenarios where we can be in our head. We can be all up in our head. We can be in stress and fight or flight. This is something we talk a lot about on the channel in empowered healing practices in general, whether it's in the emails or in the Facebook group or wherever you are, which if you aren't in either of those places, I encourage you to join us there. Um, you can be in your head sort of like in fantasy, in a rabbit hole of sorts, right? Especially with the internet these days. And you can sort of go off on this trail and suddenly you've lost your grounding, right? You've lost your foundation. And the practice last week is really to bring you right back, right here, right now, again, without judgment, because it's not that any of these states are inherently bad. We just have to pause and get curious and ask ourselves, is living in those states serving us? Is it serving our well-being? Is it serving our goals? Is it serving our health? So all of these things we can just get curious about. And if the answer is, well, no, or not anymore, it would be good to take a break. We can use that practice to come on back. Just come on back into the body, into this place. And I keep saying this place because when we're in our head, often our thoughts are not here where our body is, right? It's not in this room, right? In this chair. We're off somewhere else. So the practice really helps to bring us back. Hey, Saide. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. So glad you're here, which is reminding me I'm sending all the love to Florida. So we'll just take a mindful pause now for everyone. And whether you're watching this far in the future or right now after the disaster, it's always good to take a moment and send love and light. So just close your eyes, bring your hands to your heart, take a deep breath in, and just a moment to send love. Love to yourself if you're somebody impacted by this catastrophe. Love to others. Love to the workers. And when we take a pause like this, you can come on back to the room when you're ready. When we take a pause like this, that's a moment of mindfulness itself, right? Because we're bringing our attention, our intention, leverage to do something specific, right? In this case, taking a pause and sending love out to places where it needs to go. So, as we think about our intention, as we think about grounding practice, what we're doing tonight is exploring alternative realities. No, that sounds kind of crazy. But as I was thinking about it this week, in my personal experience, so often in mindfulness, what is mindfulness? If you've been with me for a while, put it in the chat. Mindfulness is, there's 4 parts to it. Put it in the chat. I'll say it with you guys in just a minute. But as I'm thinking about mindfulness, we often practice coming back from the past, coming back from the future, and coming into the present moment. And there's almost always limited to these 3 flavors: past, future, or present, right? Past, future, or present. And the reason we want to come back to the present moment is because if we're in the past or we're in the future, we can be, right, with our thoughts, our emotions, we can be experiencing things like stress, worry, depression, right? You have a memory from the past that you feel maybe sad about or is heavy, or traumas in the past, which that's a whole separate situation. I'm not going to go deeply into any sort of trauma training, but just acknowledging that oftentimes a lot of us do carry traumas from the past, and sometimes we can get stuck there, and coming into the present moment can be one tool in our toolkit to help us manage these types of things. If we're in the future, we could be planning, we could be stressing, we could be worrying, right? These are future facing sorts of experiences that we can have. And so coming into the present moment sort of lets us release those things and come back to what is actually happening. What is the reality right now? And I want you now just to take another moment, close your eyes again if that's comfortable for you, and just tune in right now. Where are you? Are you on a couch? Are you on a chair? What room are you in? Are you home? Are you out somewhere? Where are you physically? Where are you physically? Wherever you were mentally, wherever you were emotionally, where are you physically? And allow yourself to experience this physical reality. And it's okay, maybe as you're experiencing physical reality, other things you become aware of. Maybe you become aware of some pains or some aches or things like that. And then really sticking there as best you can without judgment, just acknowledging, right? Because immediately, if you are a person that taps into their body and immediately experiences some kind of pain or thought, right? Sometimes those thoughts arise immediately with the pain, and the emotions arise almost immediately. It feels like the same experience, but they're really separate things. So, mindfulness gives us that space to sort of tease out, this is my physical experience, this is my thought, this is my emotion that goes with it, and really grounding in just that physical space and letting all of the rest fall away, right? I have a practice on this channel that does this just that. I think it's called something like untangling our inner experience, where we recognize those 3 pieces. It's really grounded in dialectic behavior therapy, DBT. If you're interested, I highly recommend to go check it out. I'll try to remember to put the link in the description box below. Coming back to this practice tonight, why is all of this important coming into the present? Because if we are experiencing those things, those stressors, those worries, those depressions, those different things, that has a physiological consequence, right? our physical experience, our emotional experience, our mental experience, these are all separate, and we are whole humans all of the time. So when we're experiencing one, it's impacting the other. So coming into that present moment and releasing that stress helps our bodies release that physiological stress. There's been a lot on the channel about all of that too. I won't go too deep into parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system and all of that tonight. Definitely catch some of the other trainings and sessions if you'd like to see some of that. Tonight, I really want to get into what we're exploring, and then we're going to dive into practice. I know I'm going a little bit long with this, but I really want to get in this like exploratory space with you. So we've done the grounding, we've come into the present moment, we understand why that's helpful. And what I've noticed this week, and I'd love to hear from you in the chat, your experience with this and what comes up for you. But I recognize that there's actually multiple flavors of presence, right? Again, in mindfulness, we can think about past, present, and future. Past, present, future. Like there's these three buckets. But when we come into presence, there's many different types of presence. What do I mean by that? So the one we practice most often here on the channel is this embodied presence. Embodied presence, where we come back into our bodies, we come back into the room where we sit, we come back into this moment right here, right now, right? So we're really focused on being embodied, experiencing through our five senses and releasing the thoughts and the emotions as they come, becoming aware and releasing them, right? Mindfulness is what? Paying attention on purpose in the present moment without judgment, right? Paying attention on purpose in the present moment without judgment. And so that's what we practice quite a bit, is taking all of those four components and bringing them into the body. I recognized earlier this week that there's another type of presence that I think, especially with the help of technology, we can go down this rabbit hole of being present with whatever we are focused on, right? We've brought our attention on purpose, right, in the present moment. And the without judgment part, might come and go in this experience. But if you are researching, if you're exploring a new interest, right? How many of us have gotten on Google to look something up, and 5 hours later you're down some sort of rabbit hole? Or even the scrolling of the shorts and the TikToks and the all of these things, right? I would argue that you're not in the past or the future. You are very much in the present moment with that thing that your attention is on. And the quality of that sort of practice and mindfulness is simply different than the sort of presence you experience when you're embodied. A friend of the channel who I spoke with earlier today, I'm going to read it. Mitchell, if you're watching, thank you for sharing your thoughts on this. We spoke about this topic a bit, and he said, I thought 24/7 stress was the only viable presence, all urgency, all the time, all the things. So raise your hand or put a yes in the chat or the comments if that resonates with you, right? Our world, we can be focused on those type of things, right? What is the urgent thing I need to accomplish right now? I would argue that perhaps there's a future component of that, right? Why are we stressed about it? Because perhaps we're concerned about the future components if we don't get that thing done or delivered or whatever it is. And there's a present experience there too. I'm present with this thing that I have to urgently complete right now, right? All the time. So you can kind of see where I'm going. There's so many flavors of presence. And so we're going to get into practice now. I've been rambling long enough. What we're going to do tonight is we're going to step into our embodied presence that we always practice here at Empowered Healing Practices. And then I'm going to open it up and invite you to look for, in your recent experience, times when you've been in a different kind of presence, right? Have you been in that wormhole sort of presence where you are 3 hours deep in YouTube shorts. That's me. Or you're on a research topic, or your head's down in some project that you're doing for your job, right? I'm going to ask you to sort of experience that, bring that up, right? So at this point it's a memory, and that's okay, but bring it up. And what we want to do, the mindfulness part of this, is exploring the feeling and the experience of those two different types of presence. Why? Because when those experiences come up again in the future, we simply, with this practice, we get used to becoming aware of what type of presence we're in. And then what? Viktor Frankl says we get to choose. As soon as we become aware of this stimulus, as soon as we become aware of our current state, we can pause, become aware, and choose. We get that empowerment to choose how we want to move forward. And maybe we choose to go to the next YouTube video. I do that a lot, right? The idea is that you are in control of your present moment. So, without further ado, let us settle in. Let us settle in. And maybe for the first time today, we're going to become embodied. We're going to come back to our body. We're going to come back to this present moment. We're going to come back to our lived experience with all of our senses that we have available to us right now. So simply breathing, closing your eyes, if that's comfortable for you, letting your hands rest gently, perhaps in your lap, maybe along your sides, whatever's comfortable. And beginning to become aware of your body in space. Where are your feet? Where is your posture? What surfaces are you making contact with? Notice the qualities, bringing all of your senses, the quality of the touch, the contact, the warmth, the coolness, the texture. Aware of the temperature of the room and the feeling against your skin. Is the air cool? Is there a breeze? Is it warm? Can you feel your clothes against your skin? Are there different parts of your body that are different temperatures? Just beginning to notice and bring awareness. Breathing in, becoming aware of your breath as well, and your experience of breathing. Becoming aware if you're trying to change your breath. Perhaps you might try to slow it down or deepen it. Perhaps you'll allow it to be how it is. Choose. Choose how you want to breathe. And becoming aware of that full experience of breathing. Become aware of the scent of the air as you breathe in through your nose. The taste of the air on your tongue. The movement of your chest, your shoulders, your belly. Notice how your clothes move as you breathe. Notice how your muscles expand and contract, how your rib cage opens up and comes back. And as best you can, acknowledging any judgments for a deeper breath, judgments for moving your shoulders too much instead of breathing into your full deep belly. Just notice them, and anytime you feel like you're relating to the word should, how your experience of breathing should be, I invite you to become aware, acknowledge it, and let it go, simply coming back to the embodied experience. Just breathing. This practice, this mindfulness, this paying attention on purpose in the present moment without judgment is embodied mindfulness. It's embodied presence. And just taking in this whole experience as if you've never done it before, simply noting the qualities, the characteristics, maybe with a sense of wonder as if you were a child just experiencing something for the first time, and allowing yourself to really be in that space of what's here to experience right here, right now. And as we've become familiar with this experience of embodied presence, I want you now to bring to mind an experience of any other types of presence you might have had earlier this week, earlier today, whatever comes up for you. An experience where you were very much present with whatever it was you were attending to, where your attention was, but maybe not so much attending to your body in your current state, but attending externally to whatever it was that was out there. Movies, videos, games, social media, work, conversation with others, a meal. And as you hold that experience in your mind, just as we did with our bodies right now, begin to simply explore the characteristics of that experience. Just acknowledging what it was like to be in that experience. It might be subtle. How did it feel? Were there strong emotions? You might choose to label your experience out loud. We'll take a few moments here, just breathing, just exploring this space. Just a few breaths. And as we come back, the idea here is to become aware of the differences in quality that maybe you noticed, this embodied presence, compared to the other types of presence that you experienced. You might think of them as internal experience and external experience. What do you notice is different about them? And again, in a mindful way, we're approaching this without judgment. There is no right or wrong. We're just becoming curious and we're becoming aware. So, taking a few breaths and a few moments, just exploring for yourself, again, maybe labeling out loud or to yourself, what are those qualities that you notice and feel are different? As you explore, it's okay if it's challenging to find the words. It might be more subtle than that. It might be a simple feeling in your body or a knowing about what's different between the two experiences, embodied presence and external presence. And now, coming back once again to our bodies, allowing our exploration and investigation to release, we come back into our bodies, anchoring on our breath, breathing in and out. Relaxing into this moment. All you have to do is attend to your breath, releasing all judgments of your breathing. Just breathing. Taking some breaths together. We'll take some full breaths. Breathe in through your nose and out. Again, in through the nose. Nice deep breath and out. One more, breathing in and out. Breathing normally here. Breathing normally. Relax your shoulders once again. Relax the muscles around your eyes. Relax your jawbone. And coming into a moment of gratitude, repeating after me. I am grateful for this moment. I am grateful for this breath. I am grateful that I showed up to practice today. Taking another deep breath in and out. Wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes. Taking some soft movements here as you need. Bringing a smile to your face. Stretching if you need to stretch. We'll do all the things. Give yourself a big hug. And when you're ready, coming back into the room where we started. So, that was a little different. I'm curious to know what you thought about that. Were you able to experience and acknowledge the different forms of presence that you come across in your life, in your day-to-day experience? I know for me, some of the qualities that come up, and feel free to share them in the chat. I'd love to hear what your experience is like. Grab a journal. Now's a good time to grab a journal as well, and maybe write down, maybe you have something like 2 columns and you have embodied presence and external, what I'm going to call for now external presence. If you have a better name for that, let me know, but that's what resonates with me. Embodied presence and external presence. And just maybe some of the characteristics and qualities that come up there. So for me, I know when I think about and experience external presence, right? With the movie, with the video, with the shorts, with the work project that I'm totally focused on, with my book that I'm reading, right? With my journal as I'm writing, there really is this sense of external. If I really tap in and begin to experience that, I get this sensation of a little bit of disconnected, right? I'm disconnected from my body. I'm out there, right? And there for me is a sense of relief when I once again become embodied. In some cases, it's almost like coming back home. And I recognize as I say these words that here at Empowered Healing Practices, especially if you're a person on a healing journey, mental, physical, spiritual, especially physical for something like this. If you're a person that has a chronic illness, a chronic disease, if you're recovering from surgery, if you get headaches all the time, whatever experience you have, coming back into your body might not feel like home. It might not feel safe. It might not feel comfortable, and it might feel better to be external. And yet, that seeking to be external, if I may, can be rooted in this wanting to get away from what's happening here. And yet, we experience that disconnect still. And so these practices and a lot of what we do here. I love how this is coming full circle with our empowered healing practices, because it really does come down to healing. Is how can we make this, our body, right, that we live in every day, how can we make this feel like home, right? So I'm going to leave that with you. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you thought. Let me know how was the experience. I'm not sure what we'll do next week. Please put it in the chat if you're like, Sarah, that was great, but I would really like just to come and do like a body relaxation. Let me know. I'm happy to put one of those up. If you're like, this was great, I love a little bit of a lecture with, or educate, I'll call it education with my practice. Let me know. You guys are probably experiencing now. We've been on for 35 minutes today. When I get going, I can really chat it up. So let me know what flavor you like, right? This is your time. You're here for you to take what you need. So let me know what it is that you need. Obviously, I'm trying out a whole bunch of different things. So let me know what lands, what doesn't, what you like, what you don't like. Put it in the chat, put it in the comments, email me, go to the Facebook group and join there. Make your own posts if that feels good to you. So, okay, I will calm it down and say thank you so much for coming tonight. Thank you for coming to practice, right? Thank you for coming to practice for yourself. Thank you for taking care of yourself with this tool, with this practice. I can't wait to see you again next week. And until then, I would love to hear from you. Let me know what you need. All right. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, but I think we're all set. So thanks all. I love you so much. I will see you next time. Bye.